Hello, I'm Sarah Abel. Welcome to the Marriage Challenge, brought to you by Care for the Family. This fun and informative monthly podcast is designed to help any couple strengthen their relationship. And today we're going to be talking about sex. How can we overcome challenges and have a satisfying, intimate relationship that lasts a lifetime? And this session, I'm thrilled to be joined by Nicky and Sila Lee. For any of you who don't know Nicky and Sila, they head up Relationship Central. They've been running the marriage course since 1996. They're the creators of that, the authors of the marriage book, and they also run marriage preparation courses, parenting courses, and parenting teenagers courses. And so it's great to be talking to them today about one of their favourite topics that they like talking about, which is sex. So thank you for joining us.
It's great to be with you, Sarah.
It's lovely to be talking to you again, Sarah.
And you have to forgive me, I've got a bit of a cold today, so I'm sorry if I don't sound as clear as normal. Now, the first question that we ask all our guests when they come on the challenge is, how did they meet? So now you've been married 38 years,
38
so
years.
We're going back a little bit.
A long way. And actually, we met a lot longer ago than that. We met 42 years ago.
Yeah, I was 18 years old, and I was going on holiday to Southwest Ireland, and I first set eyes on Sila on Swansea Docks. I know it's not the most romantic location, but I was in the queue to get on the car ferry, and there was this girl trying to peel the GB sticker off the car in front of mine, and I sat in my car and watched her for several minutes. I was just absolutely fascinated. And then a friend came up to my car window, said, "I want to introduce you to my friend Sila," and introduced me to this girl trying to get the car sticker off. And we ended up in holiday cottages next door to each other for 2 weeks. I fell madly in love.
And actually, so did I, but I wasn't sure that Nicky felt anything for me, so I kept it completely secret.
And I kept it secret too, because I didn't know if she felt anything for me.
But thankfully, just a day before I was about to leave, we ended up in playing a rather interesting game in a very large, spooky Irish house. And we ended up in a dark room at the furthest end of this house. And that's when we first kissed. And that's when we realised that the feelings were mutual. And we started going out. And we've been together ever since.
That's brilliant. And you've got 4 children and 6 grandchildren.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got 3 married children. 3 of our 4 are married. And the eldest 2 each have 3 children. So being grandparents is a lot of fun.
And keeps you busy.
Yeah.
I think what would be lovely to know is, obviously over 38 years of marriage, have you experienced challenges in this whole area of sex and creating intimacy in your relationship?
Absolutely, definitely. I mean, I think probably the most helpful thing that somebody said to us was, you need to see your sexual relationship as a journey, and a journey of discovery, and it's over a lifetime. And it's very easy to feel, well, I certainly felt sort of pressured by everything you read or see in the films or whatever, that somehow you've got to have this instant, brilliantly sort of black belt sex straight away. And actually, it wasn't quite like that. And I think that's totally normal for most couples, that actually this is a part of how we discover and learn to connect with one another and build the intimacy and grow. And ours has certainly been that journey.
You probably weren't expecting to talk about this, my darling. Do you remember you were in tears on our honeymoon? And that was because, we hadn't sort of learnt a lot about sex. And
exactly.
I think that's when the sort of talking started. But I remember trying to, you were in tears and I couldn't work out what it was.
Yeah. Because I knew that it wasn't working out how it worked out in the films.
Yeah.
And, but I didn't know what to do about it. And of course, in one way that's awful because you feel sort of like you're a failure. But then actually what it started for us was we had to start, talking to one another and communicating about each other and starting out on this journey of discovery and going slowly.
And I think once we started talking, actually on honeymoon, I remember that car journey very well when we were going to the beach one day. And it was the talking that then started this journey of discovery. I began to understand why Sila found various aspects of making love difficult, where she felt inadequate. And she certainly didn't need to feel inadequate. But it was only once we started really talking about what we each felt that then I think we could move forwards.
And that can be a challenge, can't it, for many couples? Is that whole thing about how do you talk about this area?
Yeah, I think many people feel when they hit a problem, oh gosh, I don't know what to do, and I'm just going to not talk about it. But once you sort of work on it together, talk about it, communicate, take that step of kind of courage and open up to each other how you're feeling, that's the way forward to working through it.
And probably the time to start talking is not when you're in bed expecting to be making love, but at another time. Something like, a car journey or over supper or a walk. Yeah. Just to start to open up the subject and find out what each other is feeling. That was the key for us, actually, at the beginning.
And you said throughout the marriage you've had ups and downs. Have there been other challenges that you've experienced in? Yeah.
I mean, the most challenging time for us was when we had young children. And in fact, I can remember between our third and fourth child being born, we'd decided we used to once a year go away for about 3 days together just on our own to have this special time. And we left our other children with my family and my parents. And I was really looking forward to this time away with just Nicky. And I was thinking, maybe this will bring back some of the sort of spark into our sexual relationship, which had largely...
I was rather looking forward to it too.
I was going to say.
And I remember again, oh gosh, it's a bit of a theme. After the first night, just spending the rest of the night absolutely miserable and in tears and thinking, I'm never going to have a kind of sexually exciting, passionate response in my body ever again. And just being desperate and in despair. And again, it was only as I talked and talked and talked and Nicky listened and listened that actually that was what helped me, because he understood how I felt as a mother, all the giving out, the nurturing, the looking after children, where all my energy was going and so on. And when I felt he understood that, and then he was incredibly kind and comforting and supportive.
And things got better in our sexual relationship too,
no.
simply through that.
Oh, totally. And it was, I think it was lowering the expectations at that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't until about, I think, 18 months after our fourth child was born that my body did start to actually go back to sort of responding normally again.
And I think we can honestly say that our sexual relationship has got better. Of course, there have been ups and downs with the birth of children, but I think if you take a long-term look at what it was like, what it meant to us then and now, it really has got better over the years. Now, and I don't think I would have believed that if somebody had told me that right at the beginning.
And one of the high points was when we became empty nesters, when all our kids left home. It was like going on honeymoon again. It was actually fantastic. That's definitely been a great plus.
What would you say has helped you to have that sort of steady improvement that's gone on? What are the things that have...
I think it's that one has to have this mindset of being proactive about your sexual relationship. Your sexual relationship is not just the icing on the cake of a marriage. Actually, it's a really vital ingredient to building a growing intimacy, closeness, connectedness, and fun, enjoyment. You know, it's for our pleasure, for all of those things. But I think we have to be proactive about it. And it's about us deciding this is going to be something that we're going to make a priority, we're going to invest in, and we're going to keep that passion, that growing discovery. It's a journey of discovery. I think that's it.
And that's in the face of our work getting busier and inevitably getting tireder. And of course we were tired when we had young children. But actually, I think as we've got busier in our work, doing more travelling, we're just tireder. You're tireder at night. And therefore, I think for us, it's that decision that actually, no, making love is really important. And I think often it's me who has probably more often initiated. And it's sort of even in the face of sort of taking a little bit longer for the arousal to happen. Just keeping going, because we sort of know now the benefits in our relationship. Because if there's a long period where we haven't made love, we sort of realize that we've just moved apart a bit. We're not quite connecting in the way that we want to, and we know that we can. And so even though it is a deliberate decision, despite tiredness, the benefits far outweigh the effort and the cost.
And again, I think what I've learned is that, you know, perhaps it's again something we're fed by the media. We think that an exciting sexual encounter has to be a spontaneous thing. Mm-hmm. But what I have learned is I can make a decision to respond, to be responsive. And even though I don't feel like it, and actually that decision, then the arousal follows. And that's brilliant. And that discovery totally has been an amazing thing. And I mean, I think that may be the experience for many, many women, but I know it is for some men too. So it's not, we don't want to gender, stereotype, but I know that for me as a woman to be responsive like that, I know that it makes a massive difference to Nicky, not just on a physical level, but actually on an emotional level, that I am saying yes to him. Yes, I love you. Yes, I want to connect with you. But it's not dependent on my feeling like making love at that particular moment. If I'm exhausted, I can make it as a choice.
And I just, me knowing that, if we do just take a little bit longer and keep going, then Sila is going to respond as well, not just as a choice, but she's going to respond because she's there, she wants to. Yeah. The arousal has happened. It happens.
Because of course with sex, our mind is so important. I mean, our mind is probably our most sort of potent, tool in a sense. And if we stay focused in the moment, that is what really, really, makes the difference. And I think I've learned that, how to become focused and how to stay in the moment, how to be really present and engage with that arousal process. But it starts with that decision and then the arousal kicks in. But you then, your mind has to stay in the moment, focused on really the pleasure and the joy of what's going on.
Not drifting off to the shopping list.
Exactly, which is quite easy.
Now, if there's anyone listening and they're going through problems in their sex life, they're finding this a real struggle, perhaps there are things that have come up that they're feeling really difficult to deal with, what advice would you give to them on how to sort of have a breakthrough in this area?
Well, the first thing is to talk, and as we said, that can be difficult. And getting a book can be a great help. Each reading a chapter of a book. We often recommend The Celebration of Sex by Douglas Rosenau, and reading sort of relevant chapters to that can act as a platform for discussing. But for some couples, they need somebody else. They need somebody to talk to. And there are psychosexual counsellors, and it's finding those people who can be a huge help. They can draw out the issues and the underlying reasons for difficulties.
And it's very easy. I mean, you just need to go to your GP and get a referral to a psychosexual counsellor.
That's brilliant. That's really useful. And now, every episode, we ask our guest couple to come up with a challenge that we can try at home during the month that will help improve our relationships. So in this area of sex and intimacy, is there a challenge that you could give us that we could try this month?
Once a week, make sure that you have time where you're going to make love and talk about it before the evening. I remember years ago somebody saying the best sex starts at breakfast.
Like that.
And therefore, having at least one night a week where you start to anticipate earlier in the day. And that may mean you need to work out a little bit of language, secret code, words that don't mean anything to anybody else, but so that both of you know this is what you're anticipating for that evening.
I agree.
Okay, so that's our challenge for the month. I hope anyone listening that you're going to try that out this month. We normally say get on the Facebook page and let us know how you got on.
Yes, we'll read it with great interest.
I think Sarah was
I was going to say you don't have to this month, but if you want to, you're very welcome to let us know how you get on with your challenge and whether it was helpful. And if you're enjoying this podcast and you don't want to miss any, then do sign up on our website for regular reminders. And everyone who does sign up will get 20% off their next purchase on the Care for the Family online shop. Nicky and Sila, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be back next month with another episode. So do come back and have a listen then. Thank you, Nicky and
Thank
Sila.
you. Goodbye. It's been a great pleasure.
Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the Marriage Challenge podcast. For further information about our courses, resources and events, visit us at www.careforthefamily.org.uk.